Right now, picture a god in your brain. What traits do they have? How do they look? Who do they help or hurt? You may have imagined a Catholic god, the Buddha, or another deity. You probably thought that they were kind, caring, helpful, or altruistic. You might have said that they help those in need or those who benefit the common good. You may have also said that they punish those in the wrong. This is a very common standard when it comes to a lot of religions, but it is not the case in Greek mythology. The gods all act very unpredictably, and their moral compasses greatly differ between them. Today, we will break down these intricacies and try to describe a little bit of how these ancient gods might differ from what you might expect. Greek gods and goddesses are not what they're made up to be, and many dark secrets are harbored in Greek mythology. We begin in Italy, in the 2nd century BC, in the city of Pompeii, just south of Naples, Italy. There's a villa located there, known as the Villa of the Mysteries. You might be asking yourself, what does this have to do with Greek mythology? Well, there's a specific fresco located here, known as the Dionysiac frieze. This fresco depicts the practices of the mystery cult of Dionysus. There's not an abundance of information about this cult, as it was very secretive, as its title suggests. An initiate to the cult is shown in this fresco, performing tasks as a form of initiation. These tasks include traveling to the underworld and back and being whipped by a female figure, as well as other seemingly sinister actions. Next, we will examine an ancient text written by Homer during the 7th century BC. This text is known as the Homeric Hymn to Demeter, and it explains the classic Greek myth of Demeter, Hades, and Persephone. This myth begins with Zeus and Demeter having a child. They were brother and sister, by the way. Anyway, they had a child named Persephone. Zeus was an absent father, like he was in many myths, and Demeter was left to raise the child by herself. Zeus ends up promising Persephone to his brother, Hades, to be his wife and live in the underworld with him. He did this, mind you, without consulting Demeter. The story then follows Demeter as she looks for her child, heartbroken. She later performs brash actions to an innocent family caused by her grief. Eventually, Zeus and the other gods attempt to convince Demeter to come back to Mount Olympus. For some of those gods, it was partially because they felt bad and or missed Demeter. But for others, like Zeus, it was because they needed her for her powers to keep Mount Olympus in a good condition. These events in interpersonal relationships are telltale signs of selfishness and flawed values shown by the gods. Zeus, as well, is kind of the figurehead god of Greek mythology, yet he might be the most morally flawed one of them all.
Obey, because they're afraid. Ares, your son, he turned on you the moment someone stronger showed up. Do you really think he'll be the last? How afraid of you do you think they'll be when your dad shows up looking to put you back in your place?
Next, we will go back to some of the earliest gods, before those of Olympus were born. The Theogony was a poem written by the author Hesiod around 730 to 700 BC. This poem outlines the genealogies and origins of the Greek gods and the stories associated with that. A section of this poem describes the story of how the Olympians and their parents were born. Cronus was a Greek titan, and his wife was Rhea, a Greek goddess. It was prophesied that the son of Cronus would be the end of him, and he found out. So, as any father would do, he swallowed his children, and his wife fed them to him. Rhea ended up saving Zeus, and Zeus killed Cronus and saved all the other children he had swallowed, known as the Olympians. This story is quite an eccentric one, and it really shows that sometimes gods in Greek mythology will do anything they can to survive, even if that means wronging the ones they are supposed to take care of. Next, we explore a woodcut created by an Italian artist, Giovanni Battista Palumba. This artwork is named Zeus is an Eagle Abducting Ganymede. Ganymede was a mortal Trojan prince whom Zeus had his eyes on romantically. Zeus turned himself into an eagle and took the boy to Mount Olympus, against his will, and made him an immortal cupbearer. It is easy to see that this is a flawed action taken by Zeus, and goes to show his selfishness and disregard for others and their emotions, especially those of humans. Throughout these stories, I believe that the theme of moral ambiguity in Greek mythology is articulated consistently and repetitively. It is significant in our understanding of Greek mythology and culture that the gods act almost human-like. They are flawed like us, some more than others. Greek history depicts this as well, and it is never easy to say which side is right with all the added nuance. This theme is important because it gives perspective on the humanity of the religion that shaped Greek culture and parts of our culture today.